Right, this is double take debate. I just wanted to look at some of the recent free agency movement and trades, signing trades in the NBA. Up until this point, we're still in early days, nothing's official yet. I won't look at Steve Nash because Mike is going to look at that in depth tomorrow, because that's obviously I think everyone will acknowledge that's the biggest movement as of yet, besides maybe D will re-signing with the Nets. But a few that stuck out to me today, JKidd, Jason Kidd, who it looked like was bound to sign with the Mavericks, re-sign with the Mavericks. It's come out in maybe in the last hour or so. He signed a 3-year deal for $9 million at the Knicks, and I hate this deal. I think it reeks of everything the Knicks didn't need. Okay, they needed a floor leader, but besides that, at this point in his career, it's another defensive liability at the point guard. He can't play heavy minutes. If this is an intention to let go of Jeremy Lin, I think they've made a huge mistake. If JKidd's their backup point guard, however, I can like this move a lot. But if this is their starting point guard for the future going forward, they're just a liability in too many positions. Basically every position besides Shumpert and Tyson Chandler is now a liability, and you're not winning many games with that, and JKidd isn't what he used to be. He's just not. He can't run the pick and roll game with Amari, which they need to get his game going. I just don't like this trade at all. He's going to be 42 in the last year of his contract. Don't see the sense. Kyle Lowry just went to Toronto Raptors for Gary Forbes and a first-round pick, and I think Houston are blowing up their team in all the wrong ways. They're not gaining much back. Kyle Lowry was before he went down one of the most improved players last year and one of the top point guards in the league. He was phenomenal. He was a great player. He always plays hard. You know, if you're a stats guy, he puts up stats. He gives his everything to the team, and he puts them in a position to win. So to give up for Toronto a massive coup for Houston, hate it. They've offered Asik a 3-year contract at $25 million. I like Asik a lot, but the 3rd year of the contract's at $15 million a year for a one-dimensional player. I don't like it, and the Bulls are considering matching this offer. I'm sorry, I don't see the sense. Another trade has been there, well, a signing, shall I say. LA Clippers have rumouredly signed up Jamal Crawford at 4 years, $25 million, I believe it is. I believe he's 31 now. I think 4 years at $8 million a year is too much for Jamal Crawford. I don't think it's what they needed. I think they've got Nick Young, who essentially is the same player as Jamal Crawford at this stage in their careers, if not a more consistent shooter. They're both streaky guys, neither of them consistently labelled, but maybe Nick Young's that little bit better. I mean, I've seen him completely take over games, and he's still a young guy. I know Crawford can do the same, but he is 31. He's a nice guy and everything, good guy to have a knock on, but too much money for someone like that. Considering that the Clippers are going to have to re-sign Paul as well. I know it's looking like he'll pick up the player option. He has picked up the player option, but next year when they need to re-sign them, I'd imagine they need as much cap flexibility as possible. With Blake also having an extension due soon. So those are trades that have stood out to me. Suns have picked up Beasley. I actually like that trade talent-wise. This guy, I think he's still got so much room to grow. I know he's got mental problems, but I think he's still a quality player. They've re-signed Goran Dragic, which is crazy considering they only traded him not long ago to Houston. But he proved he could get it done for the last, I think it was 20-25 games of the season. When Lowry went down, he averaged 16 and 7.5. He can definitely play, so a nice move for the Suns. Beasley and Dragic, youth movement. I like the players they picked up. They've got some cap flexibility. And of course, how can I forget the Joe Johnson trade to the new, well, not the New Jersey, that's going to take what, the Brooklyn Nets. A dynamic backcourt, Deron Williams and Joe Johnson, however an expensive one. I'm hearing they might still go for Howard. If they can get Howard, you've got to put them in contender status. If they can keep those three together, as well as Gerald Wallace, that's a pretty scary starting lineup. I'm sure they'll figure out role players along the way. But and the key for them out in the East is they'd have 2 players at point guard and centre, which Miami Heat can't match up with, which is obviously the team to beat in the East and generally in the NBA right now. So if they can pull that off, a great trade for them, and at least they've got 2 marquee names. Well, obviously Deron's the marquee name, and Joe Johnson's that all-star level player. Obviously overpaid, but he does still produce. So some good moves for some teams, some diabolical ones for others. I love Celtics picking up Jason Terry. They've re-signed Brandon Bass, and they're still going for Allen. I think this team can still win the East if fully fit. A massive if, but I really think they can. And last but not least, just to touch on my team, the Thunder, they picked up Hashim Thabit for the minimum 880k a year, 2-year contract. Former second overall pick. You can't go wrong. He's still young. He's still 7'3". He can still alter shots from defensive end, and they don't need him to play. They're going to let go of Nazir Mohammed. They've got Perkins to start. They've got Cole Aldridge backing him up, and Thabit will be the third choice centre. You know, if he can prove his worth, he can prove his worth. Thunder in the luxury position now, not relying on anyone else. They can just bring them along slowly and hope he develops. So I like that pickup. It's not a game changer, but it could be in the future. A 7'3" centre, they don't come along often. Back-to-back defensive player in the year. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it's the right team for him. But there's been some other trades. As I said, Steve Nash will be discussed tomorrow by Micah. He'll go into that in depth. I'm sure there's been some other trades I've missed off. It's been quite an active market so far, but that's the NBA so far. Double take debate. I'm sure some of you disagree on my take on some of these trades and probably believe your team came off better off. But some of them so far I think have been shocking. Anyway, that's double take debate. Talk to you soon.